go ahead and call this meeting to order. Powell Medlock from Boy Scout Troop 286 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Powell. We appreciate it. Roll call.
Alderman Stevens?
Here.
Alderman Carmody?
Here.
Alderman Wright?
Here.
Alderman Billington?
Here.
Alderman Moffett?
Here.
Alderman Payne?
Here. All right, thank you. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors that we have tonight. Appreciate you being here. First item on our agenda is the consent agenda. It's the approval of the minutes from May 11th, 2015 Board of Aldermen regular session. It's the consent agenda for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Have a motion and Alderman Stevens seconds. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Next is public comments. Anybody from the public wishes to make a comment? All right, seeing none, we will move to the mayor's report. First item is I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. Just wanted to say thank you to all the veterans and active duty military and their families. Thank you for your service to the country. Just got back from attending the Trails Regional Library groundbreaking over at the library site where it's going to be built. Appreciate Trails Regional Library hosting us and serving the hot dogs there. It was a good event, and they're still doing some fundraising activities. So if you're interested, you can come see me if you want to make a donation or contact the library staff as well. But they've got a long ways to go, but we're excited that they're going to get the building process started. Also, this past weekend we had the first ever Strut Your Mutt event, which was the Odessa Dog Show. There's quite a few people actually attended. It was really well attended. The Odessa Downtown Incorporated group put that on. We had 23 entries. 23 dogs were there over several different categories. It was a great event. We had a lot of vendors. The veterinary clinic stayed open and had some treats. The feed store there across the street from the vet's clinic, they were open. A lot of tables, a lot of different vendors. It was a really neat activity, really fun. Kids enjoyed it, pets enjoyed it, their owners enjoyed it. So next year, if you have a chance, it's really fun to be involved in. The MC for the event was a little shady. Probably could do better next year, but we'll, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do in last minute situations, right, Mickey?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Just wanted to go over the upcoming schedule real quick. We do have our first June meeting, will be June 8th, 7 o'clock. That will be a regular session. The Chamber of Commerce Rodeo starts June 19th through the 20th at Dyer Park. And then city offices will be closed on July 3rd. That's a Friday. 4th of July is that Saturday, so they're taking the Friday before off. Emergency and police services will still be available, but City Hall and other city offices will be closed that day. The last thing I have is we're going to present a service award to Mr. Keith Holt for 5 years of service for our Public Works Department. So if you will come up here and plaque, it says, presented to Keith Holt in appreciation for 5 years of service from 5/12/2010 to 5/12/2015. Dedication and excellence in improving and providing quality public works service to the city of Odessa, Missouri. So, Keith, thank you very much for your Renee, thank you for letting us have Keith during the day, so we really appreciate it.
Call her.
Yeah, I do think it's worth pointing out that a lot of our city staff, you know, when emergencies happen, public works staff, electric power lines down, water line breaks, sewer backups, our staff has to get up and they have to respond to those emergencies that we have. And a lot of times, it's not always convenient for the families. They're having to leave dinners and events and things like that. So we really do appreciate the sacrifices that the families make of these employees, because it takes a toll on them as well whenever they're having to get up and leave. So we really do appreciate the families as well. So thank you, Renee. Officer Billy Hopper, he was supposed to be honored tonight for 5 years of service. We're going to do that most likely next meeting, June 8th. He's out of town, so we will present him with his plaque next meeting. That's all that I have. Next, we'll move into Alderman reports. Alderman Henning.
Mr. Mayor, I really don't have a whole lot. I had a phone call and went and looked at just some water drainage issues. We've had a lot of water this past couple of months, so I don't think it's anything that Paul and his guys can't handle. It's funny that we're honoring people for their years of service. I've been working at the senior center just for about 3 months now, and you will not find any more people that are more keen to what's going on around them than the seniors sometimes. And they make a lot of comments, and one of the comments is our police officers. We didn't give you the chair on purpose, but they're really appreciative of the new chief. I hear a lot of positive stuff out of that. I want to make that known. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, great, thank you. Alderman Bellington.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Lockhart.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Carmen. Thank you. Alderman Stevens.
Nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Wright.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thanks. Next is department managers and staff reports. You have the EMS monthly reports and the codes enforcement report. We'll look at those two things first. Any questions on either one of those? All right, seeing no questions. We also have the Dyer Park Trail Project update. So, Ms. McCoy, if you want to provide an update, or Mr. Wells? Freddie, if you want to stand up and provide an update on the Dyer Park Trails project, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. And we have our engineer here, Andy. You have not met Andy yet. And Marcella, I believe, sent you a summary of a recent meeting that we had to discuss Dyer Park. We were facing issues of mitigation and core permits that would have prohibited us from doing the original design of the trail and the safety features on the ditch, which runs through the park. So we did have a meeting in the mines, and correct me, Andy, if I'm wrong, but as soon as Wednesday, we'll have a surveyor here who will be able to stake out what's going to happen with the trail at Dyer Park and with the ditch. Forgive me for calling it a ditch. The Corps calls it waters of the state, but I've always heard it called a ditch. So they're going to stake out where the trail would be and be able to redefine what we can do at Dyer Park. and still include some safety features. Is that correct, Andy? Is there anything you want to add to that at all?
Well, we will be able to enclose the portion of the ditch that is in closest proximity to the playground, which I believe is the biggest of the concerns. Now, we won't be able to enclose, that is, put the ditch into pipe for the entire length through the park. That would not fit with what the Corps will allow, but we can put a certain portion of, a certain portion of it in that should address the biggest issues around the playground.
And we should note that whatever we determine will happen, we will have to present a summary to the Division of State Parks and seek approval for any changes that we are making. Included with that summary will have to be a cost estimate, so there will be a new cost estimate. And prior to getting all that information, we won't do anything. As a matter of fact, we can't do anything. We have to present that information to state parks before they will allow us to continue with the project. But we are moving forward. Any questions?
With the changes, are we obligated to carry you through with the project?
Steve, that's a good question. I'm always glad when someone asks that. Technically, you always have options. You're not ever required to finish a grant project. Your alternatives or your options at this point, first is to do the new design and seek approval for it, provided the new design falls within parameters that you consider financially feasible for the city. Your second option on this particular grant is that this particular grant provides a 45% match. In order to get $75,000 in a grant, you had to have a project total of $166,667. Hence, your $75,000, 45% is your match. Let's say you can't do the project at the scale you would like to do it, and you're going to reduce the size of the project, then we can go back to the state, and they would work with us, I'm sure, and reduce the grant to 45% of whatever it is that we're going to do. Then your third option is that you can always deobligate. You can always tell the Division of State Parks that due to A, B, and C, it is not feasible for the city to do this project as originally thought, and they will allow you to deobligate funds. They don't particularly like that, but it is a perfectly legal and acceptable action.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Wells?
So who pays for redesign?
Andy, you would have to answer that question. We had a budget in which we included design fees for this project. I don't think we ever really started design.
We really haven't started the design. We were just scoping it out and assessing permitting requirements and whatnot.
Okay, well, you said it's a redesign, so I take it that there's already a design, so a redesign.
There was indeed a preliminary design. Steve, we had to have one for the grant.
Understand.
It's very rough. It's a rough preliminary. There's not really, and I don't know that what we're doing now is the design. I think we're just trying to come to a meeting of the minds of what we can do and what it will cost and get approval from the state. Because obviously, we don't want to incur a bunch of money for anything if we're doing something the state's not going to agree with.
Thank you.
Is that how you would see that, Andy?
Yeah, we're still at this conceptual level, we're still scoping it out. But, you know, once we get your blessing, get the state's blessing, then we'll be going straight into construction.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Appreciate it. Next is old business. First item is Resolution 2015-08, a resolution of the City of Odessa, Missouri, entering into an agreement with Larkin Lamp Rainier Center for Design, Engineering, and Construction Management of CDBG Project 2014-PF-11 Johnson Drive improvements. Resolution for your approval.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2015-08.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2015-08. Any questions or discussion?
I have a question.
Alderman Stevens.
So through this document, it still refers to May 11th in there. Does that need to be changed and updated still?
That'll be changed to, yeah. Yeah, on the actual resolution, when it talks about approved and passed, it does have May 11th of 2015. That'll be changed to June 1st of 2015.
Thank you.
Any other? Alderman Carney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Limitations of liability, paragraph 6.10, subsection A, subsection 1, engineer's liability limited to the amount of $250,000. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, I thought that was pulled out in the first agreement also. The limitation of liability clause. Yeah, we removed that in the first, that was part of what was removed the first time this came up at our last meeting, and now it's back in there.
Well, that would have been a typo then. That would, I'll verify that with Lloyd. That shouldn't, if that was taken out in the first reading, then it should not be there now, so.
What happened was the original contract was added to the agenda, and then later in the day before the meeting, there was a few changes that came out, and one of the changes was that was removed. And so that night, when we discussed it, we had some more questions about it. We wanted more time to review the contract because of those changes that were added. And now we have, one of the changes that was made has now been unmade again. So it should not be in there, but it's, yeah, that was stricken out of there. But for this document, it's back in there, so it's up to this board if they want to move forward, with the understanding that that be stricken or yeah, or shorter weeks.
Is that all right, Bob?
If the resolution has it in it, I would prefer you pass a resolution that's properly worded. If you can push it out one more week.
Yeah, we can do a motion to table while we're in the discussion phase.
That definitely was part of it.
Is that the last issue we have?
Well, is there any other discussion about it? I would say just the engineers need to look at the document again and the changes that they submitted the last time to us and just ensure that they're all made on this document. What we're planning on doing is we're going to have this brought back up at our June 8th meeting and pass the resolution then, as long as, again, everything is correct. So I will entertain a motion to.
I just have one other question. We talked last time about the sidewalk piece, and I know the sidewalk, the explanation is about why the sidewalk can't be there. I just, as we design this project, I know it's mentioned in there, it's something we could do at a later date. It's also something that we could, as we move electric poles, if that were the choice that was to be made, or if there is development on the east side of that street that would allow then that sidewalk to be. I just want to make sure that if we, as we're designing this, that we include the availability, that we don't hamper ourselves from being able to put sidewalks on the left side if that is the avenue that we would eventually get to.
You said the left side being
The west side, sorry, the west side.
Being the west side.
Because one of the options was that you would move poles to the east side of the road, which would then allow you the space for sidewalks on the west side of the street.
Right, so as we design the thing, as we design the project, we'll keep in mind that the desire for future parking lot, future sidewalk on the west side.
Could be on the west side.
Yeah, and where that would be against the back of the curb.
Right, so that you don't put a water line there that you're gonna tear up to be able to put a sidewalk in, if that's what you decide. If that's what's decided, it has to be done. Just keep it as a thought.
Any, go ahead.
No, I was gonna go ahead and move the table.
Table. Okay, you can make it.
Okay, I'll move the table till the June 8th meeting.
Have a motion and a second to table resolution 2015-08 to the June 8th meeting. Is there any other discussion? Before we move forward, I would just like to ask our engineers if they would really pay attention to these documents, because this is again the second meeting that we've had to put off something like this because of things that have been missed. And we need to ensure that these documents are correct the first time we get them, because we delay projects and it's, like me personally, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated having to come back and revisit things for issues that should have been taken care of earlier in the process. So, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. So that will be tabled till the 15th. All right, moving into new business, the first item is a motion for free fishing days, June 6th and 7th. Basically, I had this added into the agenda. The Department of Conservation every year hosts what they consider free fishing days. Basically, they waive the state requirement for a license on those 2 days for fishing, to promote fishing. I included the article in your packet. What I'm asking is that we waive the permit requirement, the city permit requirement for the reservoir that day. Lake Bonita doesn't require a fishing permit. All other fishing regulations, both state and local, would still apply. But basically, anybody can go out those 2 days and fish any waters in the state, but also down. So I'm just asking for those 2 days only.
I'll make a motion that we accept the free fishing days of June 6th and 7th.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second to accept free fishing days for June 6th and 7th. Any discussion? All right.
Include waiving
It's just waiving the permit requirement that day.
waiving free day.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And the boat permit as well, correct?
No, this is just fishing. You'd still be required to get a boat permit. Oh, you want to put a boat out? Yes. Yes, this is just fishing only. Boats are still required. All right, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Next is a request from Downtown Odessa Incorporated, which is Odessa's Main Street group. They included a memo in our packet. I think Mrs. Bertram is here to talk about what they're requesting.
I'm Mary Bertram with the downtown group, and what we're wanting to do is have music in the park at least one night a week, probably on a Saturday night. We're looking at our first date maybe July 11th tentatively. We would like to do it from July till September. And what we're asking is if the city would waive the electric charge at that time for us. We're not going to be charging. This will be something just to bring the downtown together and kind of bond us as a community. Right now, we're looking at once a month. It could change. We're, right now, we're just trying to get it organized and get it going and hoping to get it started. And we were also looking at maybe doing some movies. We were looking at doing it at the 1912 building lawn.
Katie Lockhart, who's the president of Odessa Downtown, and myself and Administrator Eric, we sat down and talked, and they were wanting to do some community events, again, not to necessarily fundraise. They're not fundraiser events, but just kind of get the name out, and then just bring in some events that can get the community together, that are fun, to get them outdoors during the summer, and low logistical requirements. And so specifically with the music in the park, it would be the electricity just to provide for the sound systems that they would be having. They were trying to work out a schedule issue with the rodeo, because they don't want to conflict with the rodeo, and then they have other events too that they're trying to plan. And so, like Mary said, right now they're just looking at doing it once a month, but so that's basically just the electricities, and then obviously they would work with city administrator to as far as power hookups and different things like that, as well as the police chief to if there's any sort of traffic parking issue. So.
From an electric standpoint, what does that require from you, Paul?
Well, we just have to know what their needs are. Like puddle jumpers bring their own power with them. They have their own generator, so we would just have to go over what their needs are and see if we can supply electricity to them.
So then that's going to be the first question: what is Paul going to have to do to be able to satisfy what they need done? We could say yes, we can, and we don't know if he can even supply it.
30 minutes.
Well, would we be able to? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
It would help to know the location of where they want to set the bands up.
The location would be on the north side of the school,
Okay?
and that
Flat.
right by the hill that goes up to the school. So the stage would be sitting on the flat area there.
Can the stage be at the east end of the field?
It'd be right there by the school, so I'm not, in that general vicinity, I'm not really, it'd be closer to the west end, yes.
But my question is, can it be closer to the east end of the field instead of in the middle?
If that's where it has to be to have an event to bring the community together, I'm sure that could be arranged.
The reason I'm asking that is we have a pole there with the outlet already attached that the carnival uses.
Okay, well, let me ask this then. So you're saying if we had it on the east end, then it could be done, that power would be there?
It's very easily taken care of.
All right, so can we plan on doing it on the east end, and then if it comes up that we can provide power closer to the building, because we're looking at the shade that's provided there with the trees and everything. So
I understand.
That was one of the reasons why we want to have it closer to the school.
We can put if it has to be there at your location, then we can put a temporary service from the east side of the 1912 building and go out. It's just that we have to take it down every time that we're done. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's something that we can feasibly accomplish.
Well,
Okay, what-
I was just gonna say, we're not talking gigawatts of power here.
No,
right.
I'm in one of the bands